How's it going, everybody? Paul here with something I haven't done in a while, a TTM Through the Mail Autograph Mail Day video. I've been actively doing this for the last little while here. I just haven't had time to make videos. I came back from almost a 2-week vacation out on the Washington coast. Just got back in today, and there were 18 TTMs waiting for me at the mailbox, so I thought today would be a great opportunity to just do one of these and get back into it. I'm going sort of in order here of the postmarks. These didn't have any these first few, so I'm just going to see what they are. I've been sending to a variety of guys from the 70s through the 90s. This first one, as it turns out, was coming from Texas, and it is Dan Blackburn. So he played for the Kootenai Ice, was a standout goalie in the Western Hockey League. This is 2000 Upper Deck Prospects. And then we have some amazing cards from the early 2000s. He had a lot of great cards with the New York Rangers. This is a 2001 O2 Stadium Club. 2000, I think, 3 MVP. And then we have the 01 O2 Bowman Young Stars. This came out near the end of that season. And then a nice Topps Heritage there. So great signer, Dan Blackburn. Good stuff. That is TTM number 1. The second one, also no postmark. This one's a little crunched up, so I'm not quite sure who it is. And we have my note returned, and it looks like he wrote something on here. Mr. Kelly. This is Bob Hound Kelly. These cards kind of took a beating in the mail a little bit, as you can kind of see, unfortunately, but the autograph looks quite nice, if you see that there. Bob Hound Kelly on the 75 Topps, 75-76, right there, and the 78-79 right here. Yeah, the card's got a little bent up. Unfortunately, he did write a letter. Thank you for reaching out, Bob Hound Kelly. Very cool. He was part of the Broad Street Bullies of the 1970s Flyers, so very cool to get that one back. Next up, another one that doesn't have a postmark, and this is coming from Dave Carpa. This one took only, I think, 3 weeks or so. Played for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, so 97 Upper Deck. We have a 98-99 Pacific, 2001-2002 Carolina Hurricanes card from Pacific, and a 93-94 Score Series 2 when he was on the Nordiques. Very good. And now we're getting into mail that has postmarks on it. So this one was postmarked from St. Louis on June 22nd. Just blowing through these right now. And, oh nice, Bruce Affleck. We have a longtime Blues color commentator. He played for the Indianapolis Checkers and the old CHL for a few years, so figured that was a significant enough one. And then he had a couple of these. Looks like his pen was dying here on the 77-78 O-Pee-Chee. But he did sign this 78-79 pretty nicely. I believe these are both, yep, these are both O-Pee-Chees. Very nice to get him. The next one is Carroll Stream, Illinois on the 22nd of June. Again, some of these came back probably at the beginning of my vacation. I had sent out about, I would say, 40 or so TTMs right before I left. So hoping to get more after that. And this one is Grant Mulvey from the Chicago Blackhawks. Now look at that hair from 1978. Doesn't get much better than that. The hair on some of these cards from the 70s, pretty incredible stuff. 1978-79 Topps. 1980-81 O-Pee-Chee. A pretty good signer there from Grant Mulvey. And of course he also signed thank you, and he just sort of initialed it, but you can see there, thank you, G. So that's kind of an autograph. I'll take it. Next one here, Phoenix, Arizona. See who is from Phoenix, Arizona. Hopefully people are having a good summer getting some TTMs back while we wait for hockey season. Ah, this is not even a hockey return. I remembered I had sprinkled in a couple basketball, a couple of Sonics requests, and this is Jim Fox, not the former LA King, but the 1970s Seattle Supersonic. Good to get him back. This is, I don't know what year this is off the top, I have to look. 1974 or 75 tops. Basketball. So that's a good one right there for the Sonics PC. Little bit of rumblings about potential Sonics return in the future in the NBA sometime soonish, maybe down the road. Next one here is coming from Michigan, Nick Libet, a former Red Wing. So we have a 73 tops. I love how these cards look where they're color matched, and that one for sure with the Red Wing border there. And then we have a 78, 79 tops. Really nice autograph from him. And we have a 79, 80 tops, one of my favorite sets. Besides the fact that the Gretzky rookie card is in there, it just looks really nice signed. This next one is not just a hockey success. This is also somewhat of a political success, which I rarely send stuff in that genre, but this is coming from Grand Forks, North Dakota, and believe it or not, Brandon Buchenski here, former Bruin and former Blackhawk, former Senator. He signed this 2007 Upper Deck. He is also happens to be the mayor of Grand Forks, and so I got him on this custom index. I used to have this card design about 10 years ago of mayors, back when I was sending to more, I guess, a diverse array of TTMs besides just hockey. But really cool to get him back. Interesting that he is now a mayor of a city after playing in the NHL. It's kind of cool. Next up, a guy who I've seen quite a bit, who I saw quite a bit in the NHL in the early 2000s, Marty McInnis. I just didn't have him on these cards from various early 90s sets, like 92-93 Fleer Ultra, 93-94 Score, the 95 Score there, and then this nice card here from 98-99 tops. These are great signer through the mail. That one was awesome. All right, moving along. Next couple coming from Metroplex, Michigan. So a couple Detroit successes. This one, a guy who signs quite a bit, Doug Lidstrom. Two-time Stanley Cup winner. There's the New York Rangers. The Vancouver Canucks 1993-94 score. So these are actually both 93-94 scores. This is Series 1 on the Canucks, and Series 2 on the Rangers. And once you know they played each other in that year's Stanley Cup Finals. Must have been an interesting experience for him. Here are a couple more cards of him on the Canucks. This is an older, kind of cooler looking 86, 87 tops, and then of course one of my favorite sets, the 92, 93 Fleer Ultra. All right, moving right along. This has been a great mail day so far. I'm really having fun looking at these. The next one here, Dwight Foster, from also coming from the Detroit area here. 81, 82 tops on the Bruins, 84, 85 tops on the Detroit Red Wings. I'm a big fan of these early 80s sets. Most of them look pretty nice. And by and large, the photo selection on them tend to be pretty decent. Not too weird. All right, here's another Sonic. And this one's a pretty old one. Barry Clemens. Look at that. I mean, that card design is classic. The word mark of Supersonics, everything about it is just awesome. And he was a forward for the Seattle Supersonics in the early 70s. This is a 73, 74 tops. So adding a couple of vintage early on in the franchise Sonics before they won their first championship, 1979. So we are down to how many TTMs now? I'm counting right now. I'm counting 6 more. So if you've stuck along all this way, thank you. This has been fun to get into. All right, this one I am pretty happy to get back. This is coming from Pete Stemkowski, Stemmer, who I grew up in San Jose and heard him as a color anchor with Randy Hahn on the old sports channel and KICU Action 36 San Jose Sharks broadcasts in the mid-90s. That's how I first heard about him. This is a trio of cards from some of the different teams he played for in the NHL. First, we have the New York Rangers, sort of, 1970-71. This is a Topps. It says Rangers, but it looks like they clearly kind of airbrushed out the Red Wings there. So I would kind of count that as both for that card. And then a 74-75 Topps, one of my favorite one of my favorite 70s card sets. And then the very handy, trustworthy Parkhurst Missing Link card of him on the Leafs. These are a great alternative for TTMs because they don't cost a whole lot. They were made in the 90s as sort of a retro set, and it sure beats paying a little bit more for some of the vintage, like 60s players. I've gotten quite a few of these signed over the last few years. Very cool. Happy to get that one back. Continuing on with, here's another older one. 1970-71 Bill Inglis on the Buffalo Sabres. Right there. Bill Inglis here is a former Buffalo Sabre, and he signed this nicely in 1970-71 Topps. He was part of the Sabres minor league affiliate, the Cincinnati Swords, and they won a Calder Cup in 1973. He was also an inaugural LA King. He was part of that first couple of seasons in LA. So that's really cool. And yeah, I'm down to just a few here four left over. This next one comes from Boston, Massachusetts. And what do we have here? This one is Don Marcotte. And there you go. 1975 Topps and a 1978 Topps from the Big Bad Bruins. So I think we had a Broad Street Bully success. We now have a Bruin success to go with it, sort of. He also used the letter as sort of a protective shield around the cards. Okay, and next up, St. Paul, Minnesota, signed in pink, interestingly enough, Joe Didzek. This was a really quick return. A 3 of 3, and he played for the Gophers here, so 94 Classic on the Gophers. We have the 96-97 Collector's Choice, which is kind of a fun set. Always cool to see those. I collected that set when I was younger. And a 97-98 Pacific for a guy who played around the time Mario Lemieux retired initially. The mid-90s Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, so we've got two more left. The first one here, the first of the remaining two, comes from a very strange place for a TTM, Billings, Montana. Not a very typical hockey return location, but former North Star and Red Wing Greg Smith lives there, so 81-82 Topps. All right, I am obviously running out of room here. I don't have a professional setup for TTM returns. So we have an 84-85 O-Pee-Chee on the Red Wings. And then this is an ITG franchises in the game, franchises from like 2003 or 2004. Around then, they made a bunch of these cards of different players from kind of the 70s era, 60s through 80s. And so he played on the Cleveland Barons in 1970, probably 7 or something like that, because the team was only around for a couple of years. Nice success from Greg Smith. And finally, 18th and final return, Columbus, Ohio. And we have a more modern return, Freddie Modin, from the first Stanley Cup championship of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So there's a 2000 Pacific Omega. We have a 01-02 Upper Deck. 03-04 MVP. This was the Stanley Cup season there. And then he was on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So this is, I think, an 07-08 victory. Yeah, 07-08 victory. And that is where he is now in Columbus. So, yeah, here you go. This is quite the mail day for me. And I really am stoked to get all these back. And, yeah, let me do a quick count of what all's in here. All right, so just did a tally here. 45 cards returned. And I had 4 index cards, 2 little thank you notes, and 2 vintage Sonics from 18 different players. Not a bad mail day. I hope to get more back soon. Look for more content on this channel, both TTMs and Seattle Kraken related adventures. So there you go. Thanks for watching.